Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutayambi buddham saranam gacchami. Dutayambi dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutayambi sangham saranam gacchami. Tadayambi buddham saranam gacchami. Tadayambi dhammam saranam gacchami. Tadayambi sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are about to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are about to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are about to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, about to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayatum gati gati parasam gati bodhisoha. Tayatum gati gati parasam gati bodhisoha. Tayatum gati gati parasam gati bodhisoha. So now time for some meditation. So get yourself ready, nice comfortable position. Whatever suits you. Most important is to keep your mind upright, alert, bright, clear, practicing mindfulness, awareness, conscientiousness. So let's bring our mind inside our body and release the tension from the body, from the bottom to the top. So starting at your feet, release the tension from all around your feet, your toes, the balls of the feet, the arches, the heels, the top of your feet, your ankles and Achilles tendons. And just to encourage you here now too, when we actually get into the breath meditation and the loving kindness meditation, try to keep your body as still as possible. This will help you to keep your mind focused. While we are doing this releasing the tension meditation, you can manipulate the body a little if you need to, or release the tension on the out breath, or just with your mind if possible. Okay, now release the tension from your lower leg, calf muscles, shins, around your knees, the upper leg, the hamstrings, the quads, around your midsection, around your hips, groin, buttocks, or glutes, and your lower stomach, on and just above your hips and your lower back. Further up your back to the middle of your back, up your sides a bit, to your upper stomach, and your chest, and underneath your arms, and your upper back, rhomboid muscles, lateral muscles, upper trap muscles. Release the tension from these. And from your shoulders, biceps and triceps, upper arm, around your elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers, and thumbs. And now all around your neck, front of your neck, sides of your neck, the back of your neck, and the back of your head, and sides of your head, around your ears and temples, and all around your face, around the cheekbones and cheeks, the jaw. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw, your chin and mouth, both inside and outside, the nose and sinuses, eye sockets and eyes. And make sure you're not frowning on your forehead, nice and relaxed forehead. And finally, the crown of your head. And now briefly just scan your body once more to see if there's any leftover tension that you can release. And if there is, do so. And now bring your focus initially to the tip of your nose. And the object of the meditation is the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose all the way into your lungs and then back out your nose again. Breathing in, breathing out. All you have to do physically right now is be here physically, be present, and breathe, breathing in, breathing out. All you have to do mentally is focus your mind onto the feeling of the breath as you breathe in and out. And when the mind wanders from the breath, replace it back onto the breath. That's all you have to do mentally. So while you are practicing this meditation, if thoughts arise or any mental activity arises, don't cling to it. Don't grasp at it. Don't try to force it away or deny it. But simply and naturally, joyfully, let it go by replacing your mind back onto your breath. And if your mind starts to become dull, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. So now let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. Be hard on yourself, but also don't be lazy. Not too tight, not too loose. Don't try too hard, like I said earlier, but don't try too little. Breathing in, breathing out. I should mention too that you can also add the extra technique of counting the breaths. This may help you to keep focused on the breath. One in-breath and one out-breath is one, and so on and so forth. But don't count past 10. And if you get distracted on the way towards 10, then go back to 1 at that time. But if you don't need to do the counting of the breaths or don't want to, that's fine. Just focus on the breath the best you can and apply the antidote of refocusing when you need to. So now we can feel pleased with ourselves and fill ourselves with universal loving kindness. Remember that the word metta in Pali, or maitri in Sanskrit, is very closely related to the word mitra, which means friend. So fill yourself with friendliness, acceptance, respect, gratitude, and so on. They all come under the umbrella, you could say, of metta, maitri. Also important is to be honest to ourselves. This way we can discover what it is we need to put down and what it is we need to pick up. In other words, those mental states that are conducive to the path to enlightenment and to realizing happiness along the way, eventually the ultimate happiness, and picking them up or adopting them. And also recognizing those mental states that are harmful, such as the three poisons of ignorance, attachment, and aversion, and all of the other mental afflictions they give rise to. In other words, what to put down, or abandon. So fill yourself with so much love and kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards, initially to your loved ones, family, and friends. Fill them with the universal love and kindness too, and have the wish that they are happy and engage in the causes of happiness, that they are free from suffering and free from the causes of suffering, that they are peaceful and free from conflict. Now radiate this loving kindness out further and further. Also include those you may regard as strangers, those people that you're indifferent towards. Fill them with the universal love and kindness too. May they too be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Now also include those you may regard as enemies, those people that you find very difficult, being around them or even just thinking about them, being aware of their bad behavior, whether it's groups or single people. Fill them with the universal love and kindness as well, and wish that they are happy, free from suffering, and are peaceful. So now let's radiate this universal love and kindness out further and further distance-wise to all living beings now. The living beings that live in the waters, on the land, under the land even, fly through the air, whether they're born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation. May they all be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Fill them with the universal love and kindness that's generated in your own heart and radiated outwards to all living beings. Now radiate throughout your whole state or county. And other states and counties throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. Initially, those you have an affinity towards, that you're familiar with, those you're indifferent towards, as well as those that you have some negative feelings towards, until your loving kindness pervades throughout this whole world, throughout all of the oceans, down to the core of the earth, and to the outermost atmosphere. And beyond this planet alone, throughout the whole solar system. The whole solar system, all of the solar systems throughout the galaxy, and all of the galaxies throughout the universe and beyond, until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. And now be present here and now to recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And so we will continue our discussion on contemplation on impermanence as part of our discussion or commentary on the 4 preliminary contemplations of precious human life, impermanence, law of karma, and the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. As part of answering the questions, as you remember, I've gone on a little bit more now and staying on this subject because I think it's important to be able to enable ourselves to develop true renunciation, turning our mind directly to the Dharma. And then afterwards, we can develop this bodhicitta, this altruistic intention of great compassion, and then realize the supreme wisdom, the wisdom of emptiness, emptiness of self, or shunyata. Okay, so we're obviously working off my book. We're going through, I think this is number 47 out of 50 teachings, quotes, and explanations. And so we're up to number 47. And because it mentioned precious human life, I thought this was the time to do this. Okay, so I will read this to you now very quickly. Every day is a good day. Every moment is a good moment. A great opportunity to practice the Buddha Dharma and bring benefit to all sentient beings. If we sincerely and wholeheartedly practice Dharma moment to moment, day to day, then every moment will be a joyful moment. Every day will be a joyful day. When we sincerely and wholeheartedly practice Dharma in this human life, our life becomes a precious human life, as we will be making the most of this rare and precious opportunity. We should constantly remind ourselves that we now possess a most valuable, priceless, and precious human birth. This will help us to maintain the inner strength, confidence, joy, and enthusiasm we need to take full advantage of this rare opportunity. We should be careful not to waste our lives by being distracted by superficial worldly concerns, so that we can emulate the great sages and masters of the past and truly believe with confidence that we can follow in their footsteps and make our lives truly meaningful and worthwhile. And of course, we're utilizing my article on meditation on impermanence to be able to contemplate. And so I thought I'd do this first today. In recent times, we've been having fun at the start of classes, doing show and tell, where I've been showing you some interesting things that I have been gifted over time and received over time, okay? Such as some crystals, Buddha images, these beads, for instance, and other things as well. I do have some things to show you today, but I thought we'd do it at the end of class, just for some more variety, but also so I can definitely finish this today. This is part 4 of the contemplation on impermanence, okay? And then next week we will move on to the contemplation on karma, which would probably take another 4 weeks to do. Anyway, so this is the meditation on impermanence article. I will read it to you right up to where we left it off, and then we will utilize once again the 3 wisdom tools of hearing, contemplation, and meditation to be able to develop the true understanding of these teachings, okay? Absorbing your mind eventually with the true understanding of the teaching. So important that we're putting these into practice. So it's like we're utilizing our meditative skills that we have learned over time, ability to concentrate and then to contemplate, to investigate, to analyze, to be able to develop this true understanding. And we're actually doing it in class, which is really good, I think. Okay, I think we've got maybe 13 minutes to go, so that's a good amount of time. Consider how all things we cling to in this life are changing moment by moment. They are all subject to disintegration. They are unstable. We must be separated from everything sooner or later. Everything that comes together also disperses. All meetings end in partings. What is here today is gone tomorrow. What rises falls. All health ends in sickness. Youth ends in old age. Since birth, we carry our death. There is no place that death cannot find us. We cannot add a single day. We relentlessly move in its direction. Nothing can protect us. No wealth, no possession, no friend, no reputation, no success, no power, nor beauty. Nothing can turn back death. All we have worked for our whole life will be swept away. We cannot take even a single atom of our prized possessions with us, or a single hair of this body that we have long served and cherished. All we will take with us is the karma that we have collected during our vain pursuit of worldly happiness during this and previous lives. We should contemplate well on the fact that life is fleeting and passes quickly, like a dewdrop on the tip of a blade of grass, which soon dries up when the sun comes out or rises. We should realize that there is never enough time to do the things we want, and that nothing lasts. We should contemplate well on the fact that death is certain But the time of death is uncertain. Lifespans are not fixed. Sometimes, excuse me, sometimes the young die before the old, the healthy before the sick. The things that cause our death are many, whilst the things that keep us alive are few, and they can also cause our death. The body is fragile and easily hurt. Remember that this is not to bum you out. This is like a reality of life. Everything is impermanent, and we do experience the results of our karma. The good results of good karma, bad results of bad karma. Eventually, we must free our minds from karma, from the cause that gives rise to the effect, to break the cycle in a sense. Okay, so it's really positive to know this, so that we can break through the cycle. So this is what we'll contemplate today. Furthermore, at the time of our death, our loved ones cannot help us. Our possessions cannot help us. All the worldly activities we have devoted our lives to cannot help us. Attached to things of this life, we think that impermanent things are permanent. We think that suffering things are happiness. We think that impure things are pure. We should realize that the only thing that can help us at the time of death is the mind trained in the Dharma teachings. In summary, the three key principles of meditation on death and impermanence are: 1, that death is certain; 2, that the time of death is uncertain; 3, that the time of death, at the time of death, nothing can help us but our Dharma practice, but the merit, the virtue that we've developed, and the wisdom that we've realized to a certain degree. Okay, so basically, remember that this is really to go beyond all this is the ultimate goal. So there is no purity or impurity. There is no suffering or happiness. There is no permanence or impermanence from a shunyata or wisdom point of view. But right now, we must, first of all, act in a pure way, think in a pure way, and so on, as much as possible, and avoid acting, thinking, and so on in an impure way, or based on an impure mind, I should say. Okay? So right now, we do have this relative existence where we have dualistic thinking. Okay? And we must deal with this relative existence to be able to go beyond it and realize the ultimate truth eventually. So now, wisdom of hearing. Okay, so really hear these teachings. We'll go sentence by sentence. At the time of our death, our loved ones cannot help us. Contemplate this. Even though we have these loved ones and they are precious to us, at the time, actually the time of death, before we transition into the next life or attain enlightenment to a certain degree, we can only help ourselves. Our Dharma practice is what brings us benefit at that moment. So contemplating this, best to do it with your eyes closed, so you're not distracted by physical things around you. And once you come to some understanding, good, clear understanding, then absorb your mind with it. And back to the wisdom of hearing, our possessions cannot help us. Contemplate this. So all of these possessions, even if the ones you have actually are really helpful for you and a necessity in this life, they cannot help us at the end of this life. Now absorb your mind with good understanding. Back to wisdom of hearing. All the worldly activities we have devoted our lives to cannot help us. Contemplate this. So every activity we devote our lives to, our work, our studies, our hobbies, exercise, so on, cannot help us at the time of death. They help us through our lives, most likely, So now absorb your mind with understanding this. Back to the wisdom of hearing. Attached to things of this life, we think that impermanent things are permanent. Even though we know, I'm sure we all know that the things are all impermanent, but we act in a way that we think they are permanent, or live in a way that they are permanent. We get upset when they go away, when things go away that we find pleasing, for instance. We may get upset if we come into contact with things we find unpleasant. So contemplating this and absorbing your mind with understanding. Hearing again, and we think that suffering things are happiness. Like I've said many times before, the happiness, the worldly happiness we experience is mainly just a little bit of sort of freedom at that moment from suffering. But you get attached to it, you're going to create more suffering. You have an aversion to things you don't want, create more suffering. So contemplating this and absorbing your mind with understanding. Hearing again, we think that impure things are pure. So contemplate this and absorb your mind with it. And now back to wisdom of hearing. We should realize that the only thing that can help us at the time of death is the mind trained in the Dharma teachings. So contemplate this, remembering that if your intention, pure intention, is to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, even if this is a little bit fragmented, relative right now, then most of your actions are going to be good Dharma actions. So the intention is of utmost importance, the Bodhicitta intention. So now absorb your mind with understanding this. And hearing again. In summary, the three key principles of meditation on death and impermanence are: 1, death is certain, time of death is uncertain, and at the time of death, nothing can help us but our Dharma practice. So these first two are known as the certainty and the uncertainty. Also, you can add another certainty to that, can't you? Number 3. So at the time of our death, the only thing that can help us is our Dharma practice, or the results, the virtue and the merit that we've created through this life and previous lifetimes. Contemplating and then absorbing your mind with this teaching. That's that article finished with. Now we can just talk a little more now. So you can open your eyes if you like, or you can stay closed if you like. So hopefully you're enjoying this and you're learning some things from it. It's you that's learning. Remember that. Have confidence in yourself and trust in yourself. It's actually you that's making the effort and you who is learning. Yes, we can be thankful to teachers, ordinary ones like myself maybe, but also the great masters and the great masters from the past, all the way back to the Buddha and Bodhisattvas and so on. But actually it's you. You can rejoice in the fact that you're making the effort. All of your goodness is because of you and your efforts. All of your faults because of you. That's a cool thing to know, because it means because you created them and reinforced them, then you actually can undo them, eventually abandon and relinquish them, okay? So I mentioned show and tell to you. Just share with you a few things, okay? This one, the last last sutra that I was studying, because I always study every day and have for so many years now. And unless, of course, I've got something really busy to do. And then, of course, I just contemplate. And so I think this is about the fifth or sixth time maybe that I've read this in its entirety. And so it's the Lotus Sutra, the threefold Lotus Sutra. The sutra together, the threefold, because there's three sutras, two shorter ones and the big one. The Sutra of Innumerable Meanings, the Sutra of the Lotus Flower of the Wonderful Law, and the Sutra of Meditation on the Bodhisattva, Universal Virtue. So once again, this is a book. Obviously, my master gave me this book many years ago now. And I decided to read this and to study this again and finished it up, a few months ago now. Okay, and I did it really slowly this time, as much as I could. Also, this book is the Lotus Sutra too. And Leanne, you may recognize this. Leanne bought this for herself, and not long before COVID started. And she asked me to read it to see what it was like, and so I did read it, but I haven't given it back yet. So you'll get it back one day. Okay, sorry about that. But anyway, I utilized this book to cross-reference, which was quite helpful, actually. There's a few things that were a little bit different, so I just thought I'd share that with you. I think we've just about finished now. I'm up to studying now the flower ornament scripture, or the Abhidhamsaka Sutra. I'm up to about page number 700 out of about 1,600. I thought I'd share that with you as well. And this here is quite funny. I don't know if I'll get cut off before finishing talking about this. This is a book called The Encyclopedia of Eastern Philosophy and Religion, of Buddhism, Taoism, Zen, and Hinduism. Okay, so I've utilized this for many years. I actually haven't got into it in recent times, but you can see it's actually held together by gaffer tape. A lot of cross-referencing, wonderful book. Not 100% accurate, so I believe, as some people have told me, in certain areas, okay, but and not sort of thorough in certain areas. But I thought I'd share these things with you. I've always got this handy. This doesn't go away on the bookshelves. It always stays sort of on the shelf, the front shelf. Once again, very important sutra, very deep. From a Mahayana point of view, this is said to have been the first sutra